What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. We're running a little late, so I'm going to get right into this. Just had some personal stuff come up, unforeseen, unfortunately. But let's talk about Cassandra, Line, and, of course, Lena. Now, Cassandra will be dropping tomorrow. Line and Lena are already live by the time this video actually goes out, but we really need to talk about them, okay? So, Cassandra is the only adventurer in this, I guess, portion. And let's look at her stats real quickly, okay? Her stats are pretty good. 46 for HPs. Not bad. 572 for endurance. Ain't the greatest in the current realm. Definitely stands the test of time from last year. But in the current realm, it's just all right. But it's not really kind of what she's here for. Notice she is also a magic unit, 2040. But let's look at basically her skills, okay? Her skills are skill 1, 59 MP cost, foes plural, slow, super water magic attack with ultra encounter rate, 40% sleep. That's the first hint as to what she's really all about. With a self, magic agility and water attack damage plus 60%, so good buff on that for 4 turns. And 3 additional actions, foes plural, mid-water magic attack with water resist down 40% for 4 turns and 40% sleep. So, basically, the goal here is to hit him with sleep every single turn. And actually, you probably will never rebuff that in any realistic capacity where you could sleep. But if you got to like turn 4 and had to rebuff this, you'd get double sleep on that turn. But it's not likely to happen. Skill 2 is a 179 MP cost. Very, very, very MP expensive. Allies. Fast. Add 2 physical nullifications. Now, we talked yesterday about Baylor, the Grand War unit that is leaving this evening, and how important that is for an event like that. So that cannot be understated. If you do not have a unit that does 2 physical nullifications, unfortunately, she's dropping tomorrow, and Baylor is going away here in about, 2 or 3 hours, I think, something like that. So it's not really relevant to that, but for things like that down the road, it's not a bad idea. She also does magic resist and guard rate plus 40% for 2 turns. Remember, that's for all allies. Then, foes, magic, dex, penetration rate, and sleep resistance all down 40%. So an interesting debuff there. Very interesting debuff. And remember that sleep resist basically takes effect, and then she hits you with 40% sleep on top of it. So really, even if you have ailment resistance, it kind of wears away at that ailment resistance. It's not the greatest, but it definitely is going to help, okay? Once again, I mean, basically, if you have 100% ailment resistance, it makes it so there's a possibility she could still hit you with sleep. Easiest way I can kind of describe that. Now, her skill 3 is interesting. It's a 41 MP cost, foes plural, slow, high water magic attack. Skill damage 80% per foe water resistance debuff. That's going to become a 160% attack in no time, and that's going to be really good. It also does inflict sleep. This, I think, is a very underrated skill right here, because this makes her useful even in single target situations, or, as I pointed out before, most likely how she's going to be used in this situation, if she is taunted. That means she's going to hit the taunter with a big hit, and it's a guaranteed sleep inflict. Well, I say guaranteed. It's 100%. Basically, the way to read this is that's 100%. If they have resistance, that then basically you could just take the resistance percentage away from that 100%. So in other words, if they have like 100% sleep resistance, you've taken the 40% out of that. You could consider that like a 60% sleep resistance. So then on this turn, you have like a 40% chance to sleep. Is kind of the mathematics are a little more weird than that, but that's kind of the easiest way I can kind of describe how that skill would work in that situation. Now, SA-wise, allies, ultra HP heal. We've seen that before. We actually used that with Haruhime in Baylor's fight. 60% MP heal. That's huge. And 60% HP regen. Another huge skill there. All those basically go down for 4 turns. And MP heal and HP regen, I don't believe those can actually be replicated. but it won't matter. And honestly, it's kind of a throwaway skill because in any situation she's going to be used in, she's not going to be able to utilize that. Basically, with Cassandra, the only thing realistically outside of Wargame where you ever probably will likely use her is something like 7th Zone or maybe even a Familia event. And even then, she's not going to be able to produce sleep. So you're kind of using her at that point as a single target damage character. So she's not really going to use this SA really ever. I mean, you might use it if you were using her on an ailment team, but I would think even then you might have, well, I mean, with the heals and all that, maybe it'd be like a stall tactic coupled with an ailment. It's nice, it looks pretty, but I don't think it's very useful. I think ultimately it's just kind of like a really sparkly like polish on a, I don't know. It's just I don't have a good analogy for it. It looks good, but I think ultimately it's kind of useless. Personally, very few situations in which you'd use that. Now, her passives. When countering, instead of attacking, she does self 1 magic nullification. So when she counters, she will add magic nullification to herself. 45% fire. That will not stack is kind of the downside there. Or it should not stack, I will say. 45% fire resistance, 35% magic agility and dex, 20% damage on critical and penetration. And she's an aqua killer. Now, do bear that in mind, because that, I believe, is what's coming up for the Familia event. So if you need a good single target unit for that Familia event, she's going to be a top choice. But I'm not going to lie to you. There are better units out there that are just all around good units. So honestly, the only situation in which you'd probably go after Cassandra is if you're looking to build an ailment team. That's the easiest way I can word this. She'll have other uses. She's got some extra utility, so she ranks a little bit higher, but ultimately that she's just a slightly better ailment unit. That's kind of where she sits. Now, we will get a free 11 draw, and her first, 4th, and 11th. Excuse me. 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th. I would edit that out, but we got to get these videos out quickly. 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th draws will be guaranteed, so you have a good chance of maxing her if you want to whale for her. You could whale up to 3 times. It says 1 time only here. I thought it said 3 times before. I thought I read 3 times in the data mines. I have to go back to the data mines. Which one is real? Doesn't really matter. You can whale for her. But here's the deal. We also have Line and Lena. They're live literally right as I'm making this video. So, Line, skill-wise, 1418 for HP. Both magic and physical stat are 422. You're never going to use her for that purpose. Her dex is 500, but the best way I can kind of word this is if you're going to tie her to a unit, you're probably going to tie her to somebody that is probably a sack. Or, let's actually look at her skill, because I honestly forget what she does here. Self. Ailment resist 100%. Strength, magic, endurance, dex, and agility plus 20%. 3 instant effects when attacked. Foes plural. Strength and magic down 40%. That's very good. We actually use that a lot in the Grand War builds. This effect can happen up to once per turn. Now here's the deal. That basically activates like an adventurer skill, so it can be replicated. So you really only need it once. So Line is going to be great. I mean phenomenal as a sack. The really awesome part about this is you don't necessarily need to have her maxed. The downside of that, though, is that if you don't have her maxed, that ailment resistance is going to drop to something like 75%, and the strength and magic debuff are probably going to be like between 20, maybe upwards of 30, but most likely 20%. So really, if you want to utilize these assists, you do have to max them. But honestly, stat-wise, Line's not really somebody you're going to use on a main line. But she's exceptionally useful. Exceptionally useful. War game, you're going to see Line used a ton. Line is going to be a very popular war game unit. That dex skill is going to be really, really, really nice in war game. Outside of war game, even with that strength and magic debuff, she'll probably wind up being a good sack in Wrecker Buster events, in 7th Zone events, in Familia events. Line is just all around really, really, really solid. Now, here's the deal. Neither Line nor Lina look like they're time limited. So if you don't get them here, you could get them on tickets, or you could get them on, paid events later. But they do have paid banners each, so neither one of these probably are going to be fresh CP to you. Lina might, but I kind of doubt it, actually, because I think she's got a 3-star unit. So most likely neither one of these are going to be fresh CP. Line, I really want to like Line. I really want to say Line is awesome. But there are tons of other units that do a lot of what she does in the game. Just she's one unit that does what, 2 or 3 other units do. So consider your options wisely. I do like these units. You do have a free summon. Do bear that in mind. Once you beat the story event, you will get a free summon, and I would definitely recommend taking that up. Not a guaranteed 4-star, unfortunately, but, free summons, you never look them in the mouth. Never look that gift horse in the mouth. Let's look at what Lina does here. So 1240 for her HP, 430 for her physical stat, 342 for her magic stat, but honestly, neither one of those are really, phenomenal. So you're probably still going to use her as more. Well, okay, let me rephrase that, because her agility is really, really solid. 624 is a crazy agility stat. So really, that kind of tells me immediately she's a war game build. Because in war game, you're really looking more into the speed settings of a unit. But let's look at what she does. Foes, plural, 50% stun. Whenever you see ailment, you know instantly that's just war game. Ailment is almost exclusively war game, so she's 100% a war game build. 50% stun and 4 instant effects when attacked, foe singular, 75% stun. This can happen up to twice per turn. So, how did this work? Basically, either turn 1 or whenever she comes into play, she's going to hit that 50% stun. Every time she's attacked... Okay, well, alright, so this is, let's see, if that can happen twice per turn. So on turn 1, she's going to get attacked. The first 2 attacks, AoE attacks, which, are almost all what she's going to be receiving. She's going to hit the first 2 units that hit her. The first 2 units that hit her, she's going to hit them with 75% stun. Will they get stunned? Will they not? Really comes down to a number of factors. But she has the 50% stun before that too. And then turn 2, she has another 50% stun. After that, she kind of dries up, but she does have a really good agility stat. She is raw wargame. I would say, honestly, the only time you would really summon for Lina is if you're also summoning for Cassandra. So it's kind of a niche market thing. Lina and Cassandra are exclusively designed for ailment teams in Wargame. That's about their only use. The exception being Cassandra does have that really good single target hit, and she's got a really solid heal, so I see arguments for her otherwise, but Lina is just Wargame. Outside of Wargame, she's just not going to be a thing, really. So do bear that in mind. Now, as I said, they are going to get a ticket here. Once you beat the event, I believe that's only the normal mode. It says it doesn't say here you have to be very hard, and usually if you have to be very hard, it's expressly stated. Usually it's you beat the normal mode and you get it. But could be wrong on that. It's alive right now. I could go boot up the game, but I'm not going to do that. But the usual 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th draws are guaranteed. And once again, I have to go back to the data mines, but I believe there's 3 possible paid summons on each one of theirs if you're really crazy and want to go after them. Free-to-play wise, I would say the vast majority of people watching this, probably good to just skip. Though I really do like Line. I just feel like there's enough other units that do that. But if you don't have any that do that, she wouldn't be a bad investment. But at this juncture, we've got anime units coming every week. And I get the feeling that some of those anime units are going to be phenomenal. Plus, we got Bell and Ryu, which are way better than any of these units. that Bell and Ryu unit is really kind of nuts. So, honestly, if you've got a choice, save. If you really feel like you want them, go after them, but understand that their limitations, as I discussed. For now, guys, that's going to be the video. Like, comment, share. I'll see many of you guys here in just a few moments for the live stream. We'll be starting that about 9:45, 10 o'clock tonight Eastern time. It'll be running for about 2 hours. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. Like, comment, share, and see many of you shortly.